In this video, I'll be running through an unconventional case. The ever charming and fairly unconventional Dhruv Chawla has been kind enough to help administer the case for this video. I had originally received this case from my friend Raju, and this is one of my all time favorite unconventional cases to absolutely stump whoever I'm giving the case to.
All right, Shreyas. Your client today is a former US president who wants to run for president again in 2024. And your job here is to design a campaign strategy that will help the client win the upcoming presidential election.
Understood. Just to make sure that I've got the problem statement correctly, I believe that our client is a former US president. They are not currently in office. And our objective here is to help our client win the 2024 elections. That is to say that they are running for president once again. Is that correct?
You've got that right. Yes.
All right, great. I'd like to take a couple of seconds just to put together a few questions so that I can better understand the situation at hand.
Sure.
With the problem statement in hand, we pause to quickly jot down a few clarifying questions. The idea here is that we don't want to keep stopping while asking the clarifying questions, nor do we want to risk missing out on some important clarifying questions. So we take a few seconds to just jot down some pointers to ensure that we know what all we would want to ask. Right. So the first question that I have is regarding the objective that we have here. I believe that our objective is broadly to come up with a campaign strategy that is going to ensure that our client wins the election. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
All right. First, we make sure that we're working towards the right end objective. Next, I'd like to understand what exactly we mean by campaign strategy. My best understanding is that it would maybe encompass whom we're targeting and how we go about targeting them, maybe advertisements and rallies and that sort of thing. Is that correct?
That is partially correct. Essentially, the campaign strategy is anything and everything that needs to be done to win an election. So that's the scope that you're dealing with.
Understood. Next, we try to understand what all is captured in the mentioned term campaign strategy. Right. At this point, I'd like to also better understand before I start the case how the US elections work. My best understanding is that much like the Indian elections, there are probably a bunch of seats and they need to win as many seats as possible. And whoever gets the majority becomes president. Is that how it works, or is there something I'm missing?
Well, intricacies in the US are slightly different. So each state has a fixed number of seats. Either you win the state or you lose the state. So if you win the state, all the seats that belong to the state are added to your tally. So at the end, you do need the majority of the states to win the election, but the state intricacy is what is different. I hope that clears it.
Understood. And just to get a little more clarity on this, I assume that some of the larger states might have more number of seats, the smaller ones would have fewer. And in the US, I believe that perhaps there are certain things such as Republican states, Democratic states, and swing states, which are the ones which are really battled over. Is that largely how it works in the US?
Absolutely. So the seats, there's a direct correlation between the size of the state and the number of seats that it holds. And as you correctly mentioned, out of the 50 states, some by sheer demographic are historically known to be Democrat states, some are Republican states, and the remaining are swing states, where it's hard to predict and the election can go either way.
Understood perfectly. For our structures to be relevant, it's important to understand the working model. In this case, exactly how US elections play out. Finally, what I would like to understand is what the current political scenario looks like. Given that our client is not currently the president, do we have any information on what the current government looks like and who our opposition is likely to be in 2024?
Right. So our current government, the current president is a Democrat, and he came into power on the promise of big healthcare, education, and economic reforms. But sadly, that really hasn't taken off in the past 4 years. While our client is a Republican who has a very promising economic policy, but his thoughts on other issues of importance are very conservative.
Understood. Finally, a little detail about the space that we're working in, or in this context, who our competition is and what the current political scenario is is important to ensure that we're capturing the right details. At this point, I think I have enough information to structure the problem. I'd like to take a minute to gather my thoughts so that I can get started with solving the case.
Sure.
With clarity on the problem statement, we can now pause to build up a structure which addresses the main objective of building up an effective campaign strategy. Right, so I believe that we can probably break down the strategy into, first and foremost, who is it that we're looking to target? Secondly, what content do we target them with, or what should our campaign really be centered around? And third and finally, how do we target this group with the message that we've fixed upon? Does that comprehensively cover what we'd look for in a strategy, or am I missing something here?
That sounds like a fair approach. Let's go deeper into each of them and then let's see if there's something that is missed.
Right. We begin by saying that a good campaign strategy should firstly be aimed at the right people, secondly, contain the right message, and thirdly and finally, succeed in reaching these people with the right message. So, to begin with, whom we're going to target, I believe we can probably start by breaking this into the Republican states, the Democratic states, and the swing states, where my hypothesis would be that we should really focus on the swing states because the Republican states are in our pocket and the Democratic ones are anyway going to be almost impossible to win.
I think that's a fair assumption.
All right, fair. The first determining factor that we segment states by is voter allegiance, and then we deep dive into swing states. In that case, I would like to start breaking down our swing states further. Do we have any information on how many swing states are present in the US or which ones are in focus for us?
At this point of time, we're focusing on 5 swing states, and these we believe have the highest potential and can be the deciding states when it comes to the nature of the election.
Understood. And do we have any information available in terms of what these states are or the differences between them, or should I treat them as one group of votes altogether?
At this point of time, let's assume that the nature of the demographics in all the 5 swing states is the same.
Understood.
And let's work with that assumption.
Understood. In that case, I believe we can probably break this down into the urban areas and the rural areas in these swing states, as I believe that voter demographics are likely to be very different in each of those. Does that make sense?
I think that's a fair classification. You can go on.
All right. And do we have any information in terms of between the urban and rural populations, whether our client or the Republicans in general have more sway with one or the other, or if the population is skewed towards either one of these?
Right. So we believe that the focus demographic among the swing states should be the people in the rural areas because they make up a larger population of the states. And we believe that this group has the potential to actually swing the election in the favor of a client.
Understood. And while looking at the rural population, I believe we can further break this down on the basis of age group, where we're looking at generally the children in these areas, we are looking at the working class people, and we're looking at those who are retired. Now, I believe that children essentially don't vote, and therefore targeting anything at them doesn't make sense. Because people who are retired, I would again assume, have a lower voter turnout, and the working class would therefore be the main focus area for us. Is that a fair assumption?
That's a fair assumption. You can go ahead.
All right. Do we have any information on within these 5 swing states in rural areas, what the major modes of employment are? What are the major sectors which are at play over here?
Right. So the major sectors which people are employed in can be broadly categorized into either agriculture or the industrial sector.
Understood.
And yeah, that's the current classification.
All right. Understood. And my hypothesis here would be that if we had to focus our message towards one of these, given that our client has a strong economic policy and is Republican to begin with, the industrial sector would first of all account for a larger population in these areas and would also probably better align with our general message. Is that a fair assumption? And does it make sense to focus on just one group here?
That is a fair assumption. And another add-on to that assumption is something we have an information that goes in line with this, that this industrial group is also currently unhappy with the policy and performance of the current democratic government. So that makes it all the more lucrative for us to target this particular group.
Understood. So at this point, I'd just like to quickly recap what we found, which is that it seems to make sense for us to focus predominantly on the swing states. And within these swing states, our focus voter are those people who are working in large industrial corporations or in large industries in the rural areas of these swing states. We continue segmenting by determining factors in order of priority. First, geography, then age group, and finally, employment area. Using this, we arrive at rural industrial workers in swing states as the target voter segment. At this point, would it make sense for me to start focusing on what our message should be to these industrial workers in swing states?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I'd like to once again take a minute just to put my structure down.
Sure.
When it comes to the message that we'll convey, I would like to look at this from the point of view of the voter. And I think there are three kinds of topics which are of interest to them. The first would be anything which individually benefits each voter. The second would be anything which benefits their family and next of kin. And the third would be anything which impacts the American society at large. Does that seem like a good way of splitting up how we can come up with the message?
That seems like a fair classification. Let's go ahead.
We segment the topics which are of interest to the voter into those which impact them directly, those which are close to them, and those which are larger than them and are national issues. Right. So I'd like to start off with the individual, where I think that we can probably break down what benefits an individual might expect from their president using the Maslow's hierarchy, where we're looking firstly at physiological needs, secondly at safety and security needs, thirdly at a sense of belongingness in a larger community, fourth a sense of self-esteem, and fifth a sense of purpose or a reason to exist.
Okay, that's an interesting way to look at this. What do you think matters here for the individual?
Right. I would say that from their president, they would probably expect definitely the first two, where their physiological needs as safety and security must be guaranteed by the government. From a sense of belongingness, I think there might be a few rally slogans which might be able to help build that up. But for the most part, I would think that belongingness, esteem, and purpose are not really criteria which they're looking to their president for.
Absolutely. So I think the key message that these or the key concerns that these people have is related to job security and the economic condition of the surroundings. So that is what we should focus on.
Understood. Understood. We reuse Maslow's hierarchy to map out individual needs and then focus on the needs which are of most relevant interest in this context. Right. Now that I've understood what the individual might be looking for, I like to look at the family, where I think in this case, given that our client is a Republican conservative, I would think that the message here is predominantly locked into one focused on the American suburban family, and there isn't too much room to play around with that. Is that correct, or should I explore this further?
I think that's good enough. Let's move on to the societal message.
Understood. We get the interviewer's buy in that the family segment is fairly straightforward and not worth deep diving into. When it comes to the societal message or a greater national message, I would think that there are three topics which are generally of interest. The first in the US context would be race, the second would be religion, and the third would be anything to do with global or internal politics.
Right.
Do we have any information on which of these topics are currently trending or would really help us get trending during this election?
Well, irrespective of whether they're trending or not, race and religion are a big no for a client. That's not something he wants to focus on.
Mhm.
Politics is something that, that is always trending in the country. Would you want to explore that further?
I think that we can split politics into internal and external, where internally we'd be looking predominantly at the Republicans versus Democrats battle, anything to do with anything which is majorly changing in terms of legislation within the country or anything where the Democrats have failed in the last 4 years. Externally, we would be looking at the US's global political position, maybe with respect to the European Union or China or Russia, and anything interesting that we can really leverage in that space. Do we have any information on which of these is more interesting for our client or for our voter base?
Right. So, as a matter of fact, yes, China and Russia's increasing influence over the world has been a talking point across the US. So the message of US being the indisputable superpower has to be brought out again, and that will relate well with the people on the swing states.
Understood. At this point, I'd like to quickly recap what we have discovered about our messaging, which is that we want to predominantly focus on giving people a sense of job security and confidence that the economic condition is going to improve. We want to also stress on the importance of the American suburban family and the American way of life, and really talk about making America great again, not just within America and their own social life, but also at the global stage, where the whole "Make America Great Again" campaign in a US versus China sort of setting can come out strongly. At this
Absolutely.
point, would it
Although,
make sense to move forward to how we can send this message out, or should I explore any further over here?
sure, I think we can go ahead.
I'd like to just take a minute to see how I can structure our approach to this campaign.
Sure.
We list out three distinctive national issues of race, religion, and politics, and we do a simple internal versus external split on politics. In doing so, we arrive at a few different key messages and put them together to come up with the total messaging which is required as a part of the campaign. When we're looking at how we can finally reach the target voter, I think that we're looking at three types of channels, which is those which are above the line, those which are through the line, and those which are below the line marketing campaigns. Does that seem like a good way of splitting up our options?
Okay. What all options or mediums come under each of these? Can you just elaborate a little?
With the key objective of reaching any given voter, we segment this problem into reaching each individual voter, reaching groups of voters, or reaching the entire country or a larger audience as a whole. Right. So when I say above the line, I think we'd be looking at things like print or rallies where it's not really customized to each specific target voter, but mainly for larger groups. When we're talking about through the line, we'd be looking at things like TV, which are to an extent localized, but still targeting larger groups.
Right.
And for below the line, we would be looking at activities like door to door campaigning and importantly, online campaigning, which are hyper customized for each individual voter.
That seems like a fair classification. Which mediums do you think should be the ones we should go with?
All right. I think that we can evaluate each of these five mediums by looking at two key parameters. The first is how attractive each of these media are in terms of how many voters we might be able to sway. And the second is our ability to win, which is essentially a sort of an ROI analysis in terms of how easy or otherwise would it be for us to beat out competition in this channel. Does that
Okay.
seem like a fair way of analyzing it?
That seems like a fair way. Can we go one by one and see where these mediums will stand on the two parameters that you just laid out?
Right. So if I've understood correctly, we don't have enough information ready at hand, and so you'd like me to sort of estimate for each of these the attractiveness and the ability to win. Is that correct? Right. So in terms of print, I believe that it's not likely to be very attractive anymore, not in 2024. And our ability to win there is also not likely to be very strong, given that most of the print outlets are now largely democratic. And therefore, I would say that this is not a strong channel for us. Is that a fair assumption?
Might be a far-fetched assumption, but let's go with it.
All right. Then moving forward on to rallies. My understanding is that rallies actually are a strong suit of the Republican Party, where it is very attractive because they're able to bring together large groups of people, and therefore it's quite likely that they can convince large volumes of people, and their ability to win also seems to be strong here. So I'd say that rallies are probably one of the go-to channels for them.
That
Next, I would like to look at TV, where
right.
I think the attractiveness of TV is still definitely very strong, given that a lot of American households would have a TV. However, the ability to win there, I would say, is maybe 50-50, because to the best of my knowledge, I don't think either party has a clear way of definitely reaching a huge number of voters. And I think channels are fairly well divided in TV as well. Is that correct?
Right. It's a hit or miss. So I
Right.
think, yeah, you can move to the next one.
Right. And then looking at door to door campaigns, I would say that these are also probably fairly attractive, but our ability to win is again not likely to be too strong because you would require a huge man force to actually reach a large number of people in a door to door campaign. Is that more or less correct?
That seems fair.
Understand. And finally, I'd like to look at online campaigning, where I think, again, we can reach a very large volume of people. And our ability to win is also predominantly dependent on whether we are investing in this or not. And I believe that we should have a good volume of cash available. And therefore, I would say that this is also a very attractive channel where we also are capable of winning.
That seems fair. What is the conclusion that we are drawing from this analysis?
Right. So I believe that the two key channels we should be focusing on are online campaigning to reach a very large volume of people and really get into the nooks and crannies. Whereas we should also use rallies alongside this in order to bring some of these masses together and sort of build up a much stronger following. And I think that combination is what is looking most powerful for us right now. We list out each distinct method through which we can finally reach the end voter, and then we score each of them using a capability versus motivation kind of segmentation.
That sounds good, Shreyas. I think we've got a good framework for our campaign strategy. Why don't you synthesize the case for us?
All right. I'd like to just take a few seconds to note down some of the key insights and then synthesize, if that's okay.
Oh.
In this context, in running through the structure itself, we have already arrived at the end solution required, and therefore we move forward straight to the synthesis. I believe that our client should focus on targeting the rural industrial American worker, especially in swing states, in order to become president in 2024.
Right.
The best way to do this would be to first and foremost go in with a message of strengthening the economic condition and really turning around what has happened to the healthcare, education, and economic systems of the US. Secondly, they should really focus on messaging regarding the American way of life and making America great again, especially at the global stage. And thirdly and finally, we should be looking at leveraging large rallies as well as online campaigns in order to target the masses as well as each individual in these swing states. The synthesis covers the net campaign strategy to begin with and then goes through each of the three key components required to bring the strategy to life. If this video or other videos in the series seem relevant and useful to you, do remember to like, share, and subscribe.